There comes a moment in every relationship with an avoidant where you ask yourself, should I say something? Should I explain how I feel? Should I confront them? Or just walk away? And what you choose to do in that moment determines everything. Avoidants don't respond well to emotional pressure. They recoil when faced with direct confrontation, emotional intensity, or anything that feels like a demand. And yet, they remember everything. Every gesture, every silence, every tone of voice. They may act indifferent on the surface, but they are exquisitely sensitive underneath. So how do you respond to someone like that? Someone who distances themselves when you want closeness. Who shuts down when you express your truth? You respond with subtle power. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't explain your worth. You respond in a way that is emotionally intelligent, grounded, and impossible to ignore. Because here's the truth. The more pressure you apply, the more they retreat. But the moment you stop trying to win them back, and instead shift into quiet strength, they feel it deeply. And it starts with one simple principle. One mirror without emotion. When they pull away, you pull back. Not with bitterness or anger, but with grace. If they take 3 days to reply, you take 3 days too. Not to play games, but to reflect reality. If they send one-line messages, you respond with the same level of investment. This shows them that you're emotionally calibrated, not desperate. And more importantly, it removes their ability to control the dynamic. Avoidants thrive on asymmetry. They withdraw and you chase. They get cold and you try harder. But when you mirror them calmly, the dynamic collapses. And that makes them deeply uncomfortable. Because now, they are the one unsure. This is your power, not reacting, but reflecting. 2. Speak with precision, not emotion. Avoidants are overwhelmed by emotional waves. So instead of saying, I feel abandoned every time you disappear, try. I noticed a pattern where we disconnect often. I'm not sure that works for me long term. Do you see the difference? The first invites guilt, which triggers defensiveness. The second expresses truth, without emotional demand. It lets them hear you, without feeling attacked. And more importantly, it shows them you're observing, not clinging. You're evaluating, deciding. That's unsettling for them, in a good way, because avoidants are used to being chased, not observed. 3. Hold the pause, without punishment. When you sense them distancing, don't fill the space. Don't send another message. Don't ask, are you okay? Don't try to reconnect for the sake of peace. Let the pause exist. Let it breathe. This doesn't mean you're given the silent treatment. You're not withholding to hurt them. You're just not over-functioning anymore. You're respecting their withdrawal by stepping back, too. And trust me, they notice. Because when the usual pattern breaks, the avoidant starts to feel something foreign. Uncertainty. They wonder, why isn't she reaching out this time? Why does this feel different? Did I lose them? That uncertainty plants the first seed of curiosity and possibly growth. 4. Be a calm mirror, not a loudspeaker. It's tempting to voice everything. How much you cared, how much you gave, how much they hurt you. But emotional monologues don't land with avoidance. They don't know how to metabolize emotional intensity, even if it's valid. So instead of explaining, you demonstrate. You stop initiating. You protect your space. You create distance. Not as revenge, but as realignment. And most importantly, you stop rewarding withdrawal with more attention. The silence that follows isn't empty, it's loud. It says everything you never said, but with more impact. 5. Respond to their energy, not their words. Avoidance may say, I'm just busy. But their energy says, I'm uncomfortable with closeness. They may say, I care about you, but disappear when you need them. Instead of analyzing their words, watch their actions. Then calibrate accordingly. You don't need to confront them. You simply match their consistency. When they're present, you're open. When they're distant, you're reserved. And when they show no effort, you stop showing up entirely. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you emotionally self-respecting. You're not trying to teach them a lesson. You're just honoring the emotional truth of the moment without begging for more than they're willing to give. 6. Subtle responses that hit deep. When they reach out after a long silence, don't say, "Where have you been?" Just say, "Good to hear from you." Let your neutrality speak louder than your words. When they ask, "What are you up to these days?" instead of listing every detail, hoping to impress them, respond with calm curiosity. Lots of things evolving. Life's been peaceful. This signals that your world hasn't revolved around them, that you have a rich inner life, and their absence didn't stop your growth. Nothing rattles an avoidant more than seeing you thrive without them. 7. Give less, mean more. Instead of pouring out endless emotional energy, hoping they'll reciprocate, become selective. Give less attention, less access, fewer explanations. But when you do speak or show up, it's intentional. That contrast creates weight. It shows that your presence is no longer automatic. It's a gift, a Sasachiwan, and only given where it's valued. That's when the avoidance starts to feel the shift. You're not asking for love. You are love. And you're offering it only where it's safe to land. 8. Withdraw with dignity, not drama. Sometimes, despite all your subtlety, grace, and emotional awareness, they don't shift. They stay distant. They stay closed, and you're left in limbo. In those moments, your most powerful move is to leave quietly. No accusations, no long messages, no emotional last words. You simply stop engaging, not to manipulate, not to punish, but because your energy deserves to be met. And even in your exit, you send a message. I was here. I was open. I showed up. And you didn't. So I choose myself now. Nothing hits harder than that kind of departure. And if they ever evolve, they'll remember you. Not as someone who begged, but someone who honored themselves. In the end, responding to an avoidant isn't about being clever or cold or manipulative. It's about understanding their emotional language and choosing a response that reflects your own self-worth. The more calmly you mirror, the more clearly they see themselves. The less you explain, the more weight your actions carry, and the more grounded your silence becomes. The louder it echoes. They may never say it. They may never thank you, but they'll feel it deeply. Because you didn't just react, you responded with subtle power.